Second round of the NCAA tournament on CBS. 4-seed Purdue looking to advance to the Sweet 16 for the third time in its last 4 NCAA tournament appearances. 12-seed McNeese looking to keep the aura alive after its first NCAA tournament win in program history. Cowboys team manager Amir Khan going viral this tournament, catching up with Spike Lee there. Javon Garcia sporting socks with Khan's face on them for Saturday's action. Early first half, Trey Kaufman ran with the wraparound pass to Caleb First, who dunks it down. A few minutes later, good ball movement from around the arc. Camden Heidi in the corner knocks down the three. Mid-first, Braden Smith can't find a lane here, but fires the sidestep three and buries it. Purdue up 14. Smith swings it out to CJ Cox here. Shows off the handles. The sidestep three is just pure. And Purdue is up 18 at the break. We'll pick it up 13 to go in the second. McNeese down 21. Sincere Parker in transition. Hesitates. Then drains the pull-up three. Yes, sir. That's powered of an 11-0 McNeese run. Cowboys down 18. Mid-second, Miles Colvin feeds Kaufman Wren on the post. Puts it in plus the foul. Purdue up 20 after the made free throw. Under 7 to go. Smith swings it to Fletcher Lawyer. Drains the triple at the top of the arc. And Purdue goes on to win it 76-62. Purdue advancing now, continues to dance as they are headed to the Sweet 16 for the third time in the last 4 NCAA tournament appearances. As you take a look at your final box score here. Kaufman Wren just absolutely surgical along with Braden Smith. Kaufman Wren, by the way, the first Big Ten player in 30 years with 20 or more points, 15 or more rebounds, and 3 or more assists in an NCAA tournament game. Purdue now with their 14th Sweet 16 visit in program history. Here's more from our own Evan Washburn with Purdue head coach Matt Painter.
Coach, first of all, congratulations. I'm sure there's some coaching points as to how you finished that game. But truly from the start, it seemed like there was a real focus from your group. Knowing the opponent, what was the approach you wanted the guys having for this game?
Yeah, just have execution in what they're doing versus their switching more than anything. We thought, like, if we can make some baskets, they got to play against a set defense, be able to get on the glass. We did a good job in the first half and out-rebounding them by 10. But we just wanted our effort to be like it was against High Point other night. But we had to have execution. Came out and made some shots early. Weren't real consistent there, but we made enough to push out the lead.
When Trey Kaufman-Wren plays like that, what does it mean for your team as you head to the Sweet 16?
Well, he's played like that all year. He's been very consistent. He's worked very hard. We've asked a lot of him. He'll get tired at times, and we got to sub him, whatever. But he's a tough, unique player, man. He can get you in that mid post, that short roll, or in the low post, and he causes a lot of problems.
Coach, congrats, thanks, and good luck next week.
All right, thank you.
Purdue continues to dance, headed to the Sweet 16 and painting a new picture in the process against double-digit seeds. From 2021 to 2023, Purdue struggled against double-digit seeds, but since 2024, my gosh, they've turned a new page, and this win over McNeese makes it 4 in a row that Purdue has defeated a double-digit seed by 10 or more points.
Purdue was more aggressive from the start. You know, we couldn't get stops. They had us spread out. You know, we were switching too low, and they made us pay for it. And so we weren't as crisp as we were on Thursday from the start of the game, and they had a lot to do with that. They were more aggressive, and that's why they out-rebounded us. That's why they shot a bunch more free throws than we did. They were just tougher and more aggressive than we were. And I thought we were that way on Thursday, and you know, we didn't. You know, we couldn't carry that over. We couldn't fill our tanks back up quick enough to bring that again. But you know, they're a great team, really well coached, great players. Smith is great. I thought we did a good job in the second half, kind of speeding him up. They shot it well from 3. You know, all the stuff you need to make an upset, we just couldn't do. We didn't make free throws. We didn't make enough threes. I mean, you know, we were able to survive that the other day, but we couldn't overcome it today. But really proud of our guys, proud of our season, just proud of everybody.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. Here in front, if you get the mic up.
Matthew Travis, KPLC. Christian, for you, just talk about kind of the emotion, what's going through your mind right now.
I mean, it's just a lot. For the most part, I know we lost, but I'm happy to be here with my brothers, and you know, I'm happy to put out a semi-decent showing for our community, and you know, it's just very emotional right now. You know, we would have liked to win the games, but the win and losses doesn't define all of the emotion. You know, like it's more so the fact that this is one of the last times with all my guys, and basically like everything we've been through the whole season, and just being together and everything that we did, and even for me, you know, I've been there 4 years, and it's just been a crazy ride, and you know, to be here now and just be in this moment is just crazy from when I started, and you know, I'm just really appreciative of all of that, and I'm just soaking it all in.
Thanks, Christian. Can follow up here.
And Javon, for you, same kind of question. Just talk about uncertainty, obviously, with your future, if you're where you are next year. But right now, just what's kind of going through your mind and this season as a whole?
Like just a lot of defeat. We know like what type of team they was coming in, and like Christian said, though, I was just glad to be there. Like with these guys, like this group of guys, we've been through a lot, like from the start, and we just kept fighting, and it just sad to see the season to end like this.
Thanks, Javon. Go ahead, Matt.
Matt Norlander, CBS Sports. Sincere, wanted to ask you a question right here in front of you. Reflect on the season. What you guys did a couple days ago, obviously, was huge for your university, where you're from. You saw what the people that came here to watch you, what they saw and celebrated. What does the season mean to you? What does it mean to play with those guys to your left and to that coach a few seats down?
Man, it definitely means everything. You know, just knowing where I was, you know, 8 months ago, you know, I honestly never thought I could be right here in this position, you know, be here with such a great group of guys and, you know, a great coach. You know, and everybody is very, you know, we gel together really close, you know, and, you know, it kind of just sucks right now. It comes to an end, but, you know, looking back, you know, we did accomplish a lot of great things, and something that coach has a lot of time. You know, you don't get a chance to be first in a lot of things, and, you know, we made history a few times this year, and, you know, I'm just glad I was able to be a part of what these two and, you know, a few others started. You know, it's just honestly a great opportunity.
Thanks, Sincere. Is there any further questions for Javon, Christian, or Sincere? We'll take a couple more up here up front.
Jim Gazon, American Press. For you guys, what was the difference in the shots tonight and not falling early, and how much did getting behind kind of change what you guys had to do?
Honestly, I feel like, you know, from the start of the game, they kind of, you know, imposed their will on us kind of early, and you know, we tried to fight back a little bit, you know, too late towards the end, but, you know, to their credit, you know, they made shots and we missed shots. You know, the times that we did get stops in the game, you know, we didn't get to execute on some of them, I feel like, and score, but yeah.
Right here in front, if you can.
Javon, you came out of halftime, hit that three. How big was that for you to feel some momentum and try to come back? You guys went on an 11-0 run. Just talk about that start of the second half and what kind of changed in the locker room.
We just talked about, like, just keep chipping away into the league and just keep fighting. Like, we had to find different ways to try to knock them off their game because they was in a good rhythm, and I just, like, kept playing and kept fighting to the end, like, to the last buzzer. We're going to keep fighting.
Javon, Christian, Sincere, appreciate your time. Thank you very much. You guys can head back to the locker room. Take questions for Coach Wade. Right here in front, or go right here in front.
RomulusDelaBrackets.org. Will, on a personal note, before you got to McNeese, were you a believer in second chances, and now having gotten one and succeeding in it, what does that kind of feel like for you?
Yeah, I'm a believer in second chances. You know, a lot of the people in our program are second chances. myself, the players. That's kind of why we're close. We got a lot of stuff that bonds us together, and so I'm a big believer in it, and hopefully we did right by the people who gave us a second chance.
Coach Matthew Travis, KPLC. Coach, just obviously very emotional walking off the court, and right now as well. Just talk about these past 2 years, and especially this season, this week.
I mean, incredible. I mean, today's are tough, but I mean, we went 40-2 in the league. I don't care what league you're in; that's hard to do. 58-11 in 2 years, and that's these guys, man. That's these guys, and to be able to win a game was it just took so much out of us. We didn't have the pop today. I'm not making excuses, because Purdue had a lot of pop, and they played as well. But just to see our guys come together, see our guys represent the school, represent our area so well, it's just been phenomenal. But it's been, 40-2 in the league is tough to do. Never lost a home game in the league. Great fans. Shoot, most of the time you lose in the tournament, fans are ready to fire you. Our people were applauding us. So, just awesome.
Thank you, Coach. Go ahead, Pat.
Pat Forty from Sports Illustrated. Will, what are the next steps with North Carolina State?
I'll worry about that tomorrow. Look, I'm an honest guy, but today I want to put a bow on everything at McNeese if we can. That'll be up to whatever else happens, but right now I want to worry about McNeese. I'm not trying to give you some canned answer, Pat, but this is about our players at McNeese right now. We're not flying back till tomorrow morning, so we'll enjoy this here, and then when we get back, we'll figure out next steps. But I do want to say, whatever happens, our program at McNeese is in great shape. We have tremendous leadership. We're not dumb. We have a plan to keep this program rolling, whoever's at the helm. And this program's going to keep moving in the right direction. This program's going to keep winning. And I really believe, we're just getting started.
Thanks, Coach.
Jim Gazzola, American Press. Coach, we've talked a lot about this place and how much has the town meant to you, not the basketball, but the town, but also how much will you always be a part of the basketball program?
Well, hopefully I'll be a part of the program. The town, everybody. Just incredible. I think I needed somewhere that was going to embrace me, and the town needed somebody to embrace them, and it just worked. I can't explain how. I guess the winning helps, but it worked, and just unforgettable. And the town embraced our players. Most of you guys hadn't been there, but our players are all over billboards all over town. It's a like little, NBA team in our town. It's crazy how the town has embraced our guys, and it's changed our university. It's going to change. It's going to change our university. It's changed it already, and it's going to continue to do that. But the programs. We got great leadership. The program's in good hands. It's going to keep moving forward, and hopefully, when they remember us, we're the people that kind of got it kick-started. You think about it. We were one of the 30 worst teams in the country, and now we're talking about in the round of 32. It's pretty good job by a lot of people to do that in 2 years. Most importantly, our players.
Coach, we'll take one more in front.
Coach, if you could just talk about specifically Christian Shoemate and Javon Garcia, what they mean to you personally and what they mean to the McNeese State program.
I mean, it's hard to have perspective on all that right now. But, I mean, look, Shu was here 4 years through some of the – I mean, he's been through the lowest of the lows and the highest of the highs. And so, you know, he just incredible. You know, he believed in us and came back. It's not like we were – I mean, he believed in us and came back. And Garcia's been just so steady for the 2 years with us, and hopefully he's going to get a third. We got to look at how all the ruling works with the JUCO stuff. I believe he's in line for another year. I'm hopeful he's in line for another year. But we got to look at we got to look at all that and help him. But Shu, I mean, Shu's everything you want. I mean, how many? I mean, he transferred in from Tulsa after his freshman year, but how many kids stay at the same school for 4 years now? I mean, he's like, I mean, that's a rare deal. And I mean, you know, him and Garcia and Parker came in on the second year, but him and Garcia believed in us when there wasn't a whole lot to believe in. I mean, we were selling a vision that, hey, this is what we can do, this is what we can be. But if you listen to us and you didn't know us, you'd think, yeah, those guys are morons. It's like all y'all thought when I got up there and said we're going to win 23 games. I mean, Bonnet's here today. He tapped me on the shoulder. He's like, you realize you're at McNeese now? After I said that in the press conference. But, you know, I mean, you know, those Garcia and Shoemate, man, they believed in us when there was no proof of concept. It's a little easier for some of the other guys to jump on board, but there was no proof of concept when they jumped on board and believed in us, and so just forever appreciative of those guys, and I think our community is certainly appreciative of them as well.
Coach, thanks for your candor. And congrats on a great year.
Will, as expected, an emotional Will Wade at the podium after McNeese suffered a second-round loss to Purdue as their season comes to an end. But not enough can be said about the job Will Wade has done during his time with McNeese. 28 or more wins in each of his past 2 seasons. Has now led 3 different programs to NCAA tournament wins. That includes VCU, LSU, and now, of course, McNeese, after they got a big upset win against Clemson in the first round of the NCAA tournament, something to hang their hat on. As for what's next for Will Wade, he said he'll worry about it tomorrow, as we will all wait and see. Well, this just in, Purdue headed to the Sweet 16 after defeating McNeese. Here's head coach Matt Painter after the win.
How much of your individual work stuff, maybe in the offseason, is just pump fakes, pivots, pass fakes, things like that, that, you know, you're not installing anything, you're just kind of developing those traits?
Yeah, you know, they do a great job when they get into a rotation or they kind of get behind a little bit. They don't play the ball and the man, they play the pass. And that's different, but they got another guy coming. So you gotta work that through a lot of drill work in your rotations. There's no doubt that they have a lot of drill work there where they're very good. And so sometimes it's like when Trey gets into those short rolls, we always talk about catching the ball and pausing. Just wait and see where they're coming, because some people, you know how they're going to help. These guys will help with everybody, but they swarm the basketball and do such a good job in those situations where when you're in a rotation where you have 4 out, and I call it a pinball, a one more pass where you pinball it and you're going, they do such a good job of bracketing and playing that passing lane. If you'll just pump fake and pause, but catch it on the arc. So you're a dribble away from the rim, you can make a post feed or you can stick that 3. But they get you playing at a speed that you're just not accustomed to. And I thought our guys did a really good job for most of the game. We obviously got careless there at the end, but I thought we did a really good job there. But you're not going to be a great rebounding team in rotations. Nobody is, you know, and that's when they're at their best. When they rebound well in their rotations, that's when they're tough to deal with. But that's where we thought we could get them. We shot well in spurts today. We made enough, right? But we also had a lot of good looks, and I thought our execution was really good. I know Braden had some turnovers, but he still gets the ball where it needs to be and understanding what we're doing against their switching.
Thanks, Coach. Here, front left.
Hey, Matt, Adam Zagoria here to your left. I noticed you were on your whiteboard on the bench there a couple minutes before the game. Are you drawing up a play there? Can you say what you're doing on your whiteboard? Is it ever common for you to draw up a play or something right before the game?
No, our PJ handles our offense. It doesn't mean I don't interject, but I'm really writing the same things on the board that I normally write every single game, because I think there's a lot of things that can change in a game, but there's also those pillars, those constants that don't: run, rebound, and defend, stick to our rules, things of that nature. They're very general, they're very hokey, but they're very true. And so, like, I think young people that haven't been here and people that kind of get caught up sometimes, we can overload them. Like, you have to give a lot of information to go against that kind of a defense. You have to understand what you're doing. And I think the failure that we had against the teams in the non-conference that switch a lot and play that way, I think that really helped us. It helped us be able to adjust and be able to play.
Here to the right with John.
Matt, obviously, going into the season, you knew that Trey Kaufman-Renn had to play a significant role for this team to be successful. That being said, in terms of what you knew you needed from him versus what he has ended up being for this program, how would you speak to it?
Yeah, I felt he was going to be an all-conference player. You know, we watched him, and he was around, and at times he didn't coexist with Zach the best. We would play Mace there because Mace always stretched the floor. We wanted to give Zach, you know, that kind of space to be able to play from a decision-making standpoint. So I know he started last year at the 4, but you know, he waited his turn, and he was very honest about it when we had our end-of-season meeting the year before, and just says, I can wait 1 year, but I can't wait 2 years. And so Zach only stayed 1 more year. But no, he's fabulous. He's very unique. He's stronger than he looks. He can get to his jump hook. He's a good passer. Tonight was his probably best rebounding game of the season. He hasn't rebounded like that. You know, that really would be a separator from him in terms of a kind of a national player.
Coach, you're back right.
With the right, Pep. So speaking of what you said about Trey and developing him and the guy, your just ability to keep guys in the program and keep them progressing to the point where they're going to be contributors. How have you done that?
Obviously, signing good players. Brandon Brantley is one of our assistants that works with our big guys, and he's done a really good job with that. Trey's a very simple person. You know, he's to the point. Academics, basketball, and that's about it. He puts a lot of time into his game, and just kind of finding those guys with that passion and that competitive spirit that want to get better. Like Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, you can go right down the list. Like, you got to give them the credit more than us, you know. But you also got to give us the credit for finding that out about them, that it matters to them and it cares. And because, like, players are made in the off season. Those guys had great off seasons, and they love Zach Edey. Like, all of us love Zach Edey. You know, he makes you a great coach, right? But there's also a part of it, like, it's hard to adjust without him because he meant so much to us and how we played and how we had to change. We played through ball screens, but now what Trey does and how we get to the pocket passes and the short rolls, we never did that before because it didn't make sense, because we've had the really big guys, you know, A.J. Hammonds, Isaac Haas, Caleb Swanigan, you know, Jawan Johnson, who's more of a flip-up type guy. So, like, that was our adjustment. Our adjustment was that, but it also makes it work because Braden can pass the basketball so well. But no, we've always felt like he was going to be that guy. He's always been a guy that's been able to score, and he did a good job scoring against Zach in practice. That's always a good indicator that it's going to work against everybody else.
Thanks.
Let's get you inside our CBS Sports HQ studios. I'm Jordan Giorgio alongside Mike O'Donnell. You know, this was sad to see McNeese go out like this, of course, after their upset win to Clemson, but it was just pure Purdue dominance on all aspects of the game. What impressed you most about their performance?
I think when you look at how you execute from an effort standpoint, McNeese played chaotic, but they played confidence. And there was too much chaos in the first half. They got down 18, and even though they outscored Purdue in the second half, an 18-point lead against Purdue that's like almost an insurmountable lead, because Purdue can slow it down, they'll run their offense. I think if you can win while turning the ball over, that's a big deal. And Purdue had way too many turnovers in this game. Braden Smith especially, you know, has a tendency to be a little turnover prone, even though he is a top 3-point guard in the country. Trey Kaufman-Renn, awesome. Just awesome. In his last 5 games, he's been on a tear, averaging 25 points a game. He had 22 this afternoon. he deserves a lot of credit for being how consistent he's been on being that outlet. So much attention on Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, but Trey Kaufman-Renn, he's been the hero for Purdue these last 5 games at 22 points, 15 rebounds, throwing a couple of assists, a block, and a steal. I mean, he's done everything for Purdue. Where everybody was talking about how is Purdue going to be without Zach Edey,
right?
Trey Kaufman-Renn, the second half of the season, has filled that void in a way that I don't think most people were expecting.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought that up because I feel like that has kind of been a theme, and you wonder if this Purdue team is maybe being overlooked, a little bit underrated, but they continue to dance. They're headed to the Sweet 16, and it's worth mentioning this is a Purdue team that has returned 3 starters from last year's team. How important will that actually be to have guys who have that experience as this team eyes another deep run, Mike?
Because in late game situations, there's a confidence and trust with 3 of your best players, who are also 3 returning starters from a national championship appearance, of knowing what to do and how to do it. They know exactly what Matt Painter wants. The effort will be there. If they can clean up the turnovers, this is absolutely a team where, you know, don't be surprised to see Purdue in the Elite 8. I know you're trying to get me to give me to do an underrated, overrated chant for for Purdue. What we're actually going to pick. When Braden Smith doesn't turn the ball over, it's not like there's 20 teams in the country that can beat Purdue. This is a very, very good ball club when they limit their turnovers, but that's just the biggest issue moving forward in the tournament.
Right now, 42% of our CBS Sports brackets actually had Purdue advancing to the Sweet 16. They will now go on to face the winner of either Gonzaga or Houston, that game later on tonight. If you're Purdue, who are you more wanting to see?
You do not want to see Houston.
You don't want to see Houston.
100% no. You do not want to see Houston.
So bring on Gonzaga.
Yeah, you know, a little bit of rematch, you know, potentially for last season. But Houston, the way they play defensively, when we're talking a team in Purdue that their offensive efficiency is some of the best in the country, yet they still turn the ball over way too much. And Matt Painter would say the same thing. I'm not saying anything to where you know, upset at Purdue. I mean, that's just been an issue. When you face a Houston team that is the #1 defense analytically in college basketball, where they love to get deflections, steals, push you off cutters, bump you off of down screens and pin downs, that's would be a major issue for the Boilermakers.
Okay, so going back to what Purdue really has to clean up in order to continue to have a deep run here, turnovers. How do you clean something like that up? How do you make that a priority to really get right before, obviously, the Sweet 16 on Friday? What does the next few days look like?
Well, that's a really hard thing to fix now.
Yeah.
Right, in mid-March, an almost impossible thing to fix. It's an issue. It's an issue that Purdue fans have known for a long time. It's an issue that Matt Painter, you know, has to address in post-game media. And that was the knock on Braden Smith when he was a freshman. Now, he's cleaned it up in a big way. It more comes down to style of play. If a team full court presses and it's 94 feet of full court pressure, that's when Purdue usually struggles. So it has to be, you have to find that additional ball handler. There has to be an additional outlet. It can't just be Braden Smith all the time breaking the press no matter what. You do need that second, third guy to run your offense, either throwing over the top of the defense to give Braden Smith a little bit of a break. You know, he played 40 minutes, didn't come out of the game today, right? And he was, you know, he had 10 points, 5 assists, he had those 8 turnovers in 40 minutes. Braden Smith, you know, if he comes out in the NCAA tournament, you know, you're surprised. He's a guy who's going to give you 37, 38 minutes. So some turnovers are going to come with that. Can you find somewhat of a secondary ball handler to provide a pressure release for Braden Smith?
All right, we'll see if they'll be able to clean that up soon, as they will move on to the Sweet 16 to face the winner of either Houston or Gonzaga, that game later on tonight. Let's go ahead and get to McNeese here. As I mentioned at the top of our post-game coverage, you know, it's sad because I think a lot of people were rooting for McNeese going far in this tournament. They raised a bunch of eyebrows, as we know, pulling off that upset against Clemson, spoiling brackets everywhere, including my own. A lot of folks rooting for this team, especially as we are expecting this to be the final season for Will Wade. What can you say about the job he has done?
You know, McNeese took a shot on a coach that really kind of had a scarlet letter, you know, on his resume. You know, the issues with Will Wade and his previous institution have been covered at great length. All the issues from when, from a recruiting standpoint, getting caught on a wiretap, like it's been covered, and nobody would take a shot at him. But it was also well known that he was one of the best recruiters and the best coaches in the country. And McNeese gave him a lifeline. And I think he's repaid that lifeline tenfold. What he did last season, what he did this season, taking McNeese to the NCAA tournaments, he can recruit, and then he can develop, and then he can build a system that wins. I don't think Will Wade is going to be at McNeese next season. I don't know where he's going to be. There's been reports that he could be going a certain place, and that may come to fruition. It may not. But I'd be shocked if Will Wade is at McNeese. He's been very open and honest to the media. He's been very open and honest to his players. Even though McNeese did not play well against Purdue, there was no quit. There was an enormous amount of fights. They were flying around. They were just too chaotic. And that was one of the knocks about this McNeese team. But have we ever talked about McNeese and is it related to the NCAA tournament in college basketball? No, we haven't in the past. It's because of Will Wade and his ability to coach, recruit, and develop players at a very high level.
Well, we will see what the future holds for Will Wade as we will continue to keep you posted on the very latest on where he ends up. We will also bring you Will Wade's post-game press conference as well right here on CBS Sports HQ. You know, McNeese was a team that many people were rooting for, of course, after their big upset over Clemson. But speaking of upsets, we're used to seeing so many each and every year. It's what makes this tournament great. But it feels like this year, it feels a little bit different. We're not seeing as many upsets as we're used to seeing. Why do you think that is?
We still had a handful, right? We still had Drake, we had McNeese, we had Colorado State, we had New Mexico over Marquette. So the upsets have been there. What hasn't counterbalanced is there's been some blowouts. And I'm not even just talking, 1 seeds over 16 seeds. When Liberty just got absolutely run out of the gym by Oregon, if that game was close, I don't think we'd be saying the same thing. We've just seen a lot of blowouts happen. We need more time to actually, before we jump to conclusions on, oh, the NCAA tournament is bad, it's not going to be as good because of pay for play now. I refuse to say because of NIL, because it's not NIL, it's pay for play. And yes.
Do you think it could be playing a little bit of a role,
Of course.
though? Okay.
Of course, no question about it.
Right.
But then how do you explain Colorado State? How do you explain McNeese winning? It does come down to coaching. It does come down to culture, and it does come down to continuity of your staff and having, being able to identify at the low major and mid-major level what we're finding, and where a lot of the complaints are valid of, it feels like a farm system for the power schools. And in some cases, that's true. But, we have to give a lot of credit to the low major and high major coaches, which I don't even like that phrase of, they're really good talent evaluators.
Yeah, that's true. We'll leave it there. Purdue heading to their 6th Sweet 16 in the past 8 seasons as they defeat McNeese in the second round of the NCAA tournament. Purdue just absolutely dominant in all phases of the game. Dancing continues as they are headed to the Sweet 16. More from us on the other side here on CBS Sports HQ. We'll have full highlights from this one, and we'll bring you both coaches' post-game press conferences. Keep it locked in right here, CBS Sports HQ. Well, for much more on this game as Purdue is heading to the Sweet 16, let's go ahead and welcome in a guy who had a front row seat to this one. Live from Providence, it's our own Matt Norlander. Matt, we were just talking about how it was just pure dominance from Purdue in all aspects of the game. You saw this game firsthand. What impressed you most?
Purdue's ability to show up ready to go immediately. I mean, the Boilermakers were shooting 75% in the first half of the first half, and really the end matters early. They never really gave McNeese a chance to even have any kind of hope. And then the dominance on the glass was another clear thing. And I actually thought it was important for Purdue as a program to get to the Sweet 16 this season, because it just had Zach Edey in back-to-back years, National Player of the Year, one of the most dominant players we've seen in the sport in the past 3-4 decades. He's gone. He's off to the NBA, and Purdue does not follow that up with an early exit in the tournament. I thought that was actually beneficial to Matt Painter and his coaching reputation, although inside the sport, no really doubts that he's one of the better coaches in all of college basketball. But we know how these things can go sometimes. If you do not have sustained success in March, that can kind of be something that sticks to you. So Purdue, at minimum, follows this up with the Sweet 16 appearance after making the national title game last year, and of course losing to the 16-seeded FDU Knights the year before. And now Purdue gets the benefit, oh by the way, of playing in Indianapolis in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, that's going to be certainly an advantage for Purdue there. When worth noting, you know, Matt, I feel like the SEC just continues to get all the praise, all the spotlight. But how about Big Ten in this play, undefeated in tournament play, a perfect 9-0? What can you say about the conference and the level of play we're seeing from them?
Well, it's fantastic. I did post that the Big Ten is 9-0, and frankly, I'm covering the tournament in a variety of ways. I'm not covering what teams are actually covering the spread, but then a lot of people let me know that apparently the Big Ten is also 9-0 against the spread so far. So not only are teams winning, they're winning beyond the expectation there. And I will note that most of these wins, because Big Ten teams have been seeded well, have come against double-digit seeds. But regardless, best start ever by a conference. It's a good moment for a league that is waiting and seeing, can it get a national champion? Hasn't had one since 2000. Michigan State still doesn't have any teams on the one line or anything like that. But regardless, it's been a very impressive showing here for the Big Ten, and a good bit of pub here. They're gonna send a number of teams into the Sweet 16, regardless of what happens tomorrow. Some are gonna probably inevitably get picked off, but it's guaranteed at least one with Purdue, and I'm sure a few more are coming. So yeah, a good moment here. And by the way, the Big Ten rated second to the SEC in Ken Palm rating this season. So this is not some surprise in terms of the Big Ten having success. That league has shown itself to be clearly the #2 league in the country over the past 4 months.
Let's go ahead and switch gears here and talk a little bit about McNeese. And it's a heartbreaker. It's sad. I'm sad because I think we were all rooting for McNeese after they pulled off that upset win to Clemson, rooting for this team, rooting for the guys, especially rooting for Will Wade. Before we talk about the future of Will Wade and what comes next for him, what can you say about the job he's done with this McNeese team?
Oh, outrageously good. I mean, Will Wade was a coach who got fired from LSU, understandably so. You know, it was found that he had violated NCAA rules that no longer exist in their current form the way they did when he was there. But it did happen. He got fired, and he was out of coaching for a year, and then he gets McNeese to take a shot on him when basically very few other athletic directors would have. Heath Schroyer, a former coach, now turned AD at McNeese, said, "No, I want you, and let's do it." And what they were able to do, you know, almost 60 wins over 2 seasons was incredible. They win a tournament game for the first time in school history. You know, the Southland, by nature of beating Clemson in the ACC on Thursday, that was the first time the Southland had ever defeated an ACC team in the NCAA tournament. So mighty impressive, and there's a reason why NC State wants Will Wade.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and talk about that. As expected, we saw a very emotional Will Wade after this game at the podium. And of course, he was asked what comes next. He says he's going to worry about it tomorrow. But what is the very latest, Matt, on Will Wade that you're hearing?
Yeah, Will Wade's going to have a 6-year deal at NC State, according to a source, and I do anticipate NC State to announce that formally on Sunday. I suppose it's possible they wait until Monday, but unless something drastically changes over the next couple of hours here, I don't think that NC State's going to do this on the same day that McNeese got knocked out of the tournament. McNeese is actually going to spend the night here in Providence and then fly home back to Lake Charles, Louisiana in the morning. So they'll enjoy this time together, and then NC State will formally announce, I believe on Sunday, 6-year deal with Will Wade. And I actually have a little bit more on this as well. Amir Khan, the student manager who has gotten massively famous over the course of the past few days, I spoke with him afterward. It sounds like he's going to follow Will Wade to NC State and be a graduate assistant with, you know, additional roles and responsibilities to be determined. Although, to be fair, I did speak with Khan about a number of things in the locker room. One, he said it was a surreal moment to sit next to Spike Lee, which did happen during this game. Yeah. He also said, I'm looking forward to hopefully playing in, there's these things called the manager games that happen at the Final Four, and McNeese is getting a lot of fan voting. One manager group actually gets to go and play in that with high fan voting. So we're probably going to see more of him in San Antonio. And then he said he's absolutely open to going to NC State and following Will Wade and crew. But he's open to a lot of things. He wants to absolutely continue his education and still be part of a basketball program at the college level. So we will see more of him. We have not seen the last of him. And I'm pretty I'm pretty sure this is, unless he gets a bigger and better offer, which Will Wade wouldn't object to. Maybe Will Wade might have to come with a pretty strong offer as well. It sounds like NC State is the most likely destination for him as well, but we'll see how things change for him over the next few days because, as you well know, Jordan, he's gotten sports famous very, very fast. And he's got all these he's got 12 NIL deals. He's easily making into six figures, I was told, and more is coming. So don't put anything definitive on his future, but wanted to bring it up because he has really become a star and is so symbolic of the power, cultural power of this amazing event every single year. So Amir Khan, they call him Aura, and we'll see what comes next. But I do think there's a good chance that he's going to follow Will Wade to NC State.
Wow, some incredible insight. What a whirlwind, I'm sure, of a time for Amir Khan. One of the biggest names in the tournament that's not named Cooper Flagg, as you said before we went on live here on CBS Sports HQ. Matt Norlander joining us here for the very latest around March Madness. You can watch every game, every men's tournament game live right here on CBS or CBS Sports HQ.